Hi guys and welcome to Bomb Anime.
It's your girl Roka.
And Big Boy Summer here bringing you episode 11 of Chainsaw Man.
This deal Aki is making with the future devil just forces the sentiment that jobs don't give a fuck about your well-being. Die and they'll replace you. Fail to be useful and they'll replace you. They know this brother has like 2 years left and they're like, oh, you know, the future devil has taken a bunch of things from other people. Hopefully it's all right for ya. See ya. Come on, man.
I never even thought of that, Rika. So yeah, you're right. I mean, straight away after a traumatic experience, losing Jimeno, everything, right back on the job, straight away. Literally, he didn't even get to eat his apples and he's straight back on the job.
Straight out of hospital.
Right to where the devil's live. Come on, you need to get better. Which one of these? I will give you the future one.
Jeez.
And the future one's power is pretty okay, you know, especially for someone like Aki who's agile and nimble and good with the sword. You can see a little bit into the future. That's pretty sick.
Yes, however, I don't believe that this would make him so much better at fighting because, yes, he can see a little bit into the future now, but that's something that needs training. Your body still needs to be trained to move like that, to be able to move at such a quick split decision and still be able to have like a good fighting form. And we haven't really seen Aki be that wonderful before now. I'm not saying he's he's good. I'm just saying that, you know, I feel like he would have had to train a little bit to get the full use out of this power.
I agree with that because, like, remember in Mashiko Tensei when he had the future sight and it was very hard for him in the beginning to see when stuff was going on and he had to kind of like go through that learning process. What's he been in the hospital for like a day or two? If we're looking at it correctly, he might have gone straight from the hospital into thing like we said he did. So it's probably been a few days still. But I don't know. Could you train in a few days to see both future and present? And if you can see the future, is it set in stone? Oh, there's some philosophical questions there for me.
It always does when it gets to things like this, the future, anything to do with time. So, you know, we don't know what philosophy they're really following right now, so I think we should leave that one there.
Fate. Sorry.
I feel like Aki has been acting really weird since the future devil actually entered his eye. He's got almost an edge to his personality, a bit of conviction in the way that he's walking, the way that he's moving his body.
As opposed to having edge before, like he was always edgy. Like this guy was literally drawn edgy. Look at his top knot. But there is a little change. I know. I see. It's like there's a swagger in his step, full of confidence. Like yeah, because he feels like he knows what's gonna happen, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. And I would have expected him to be, if he was going to be different, I thought it might influence his personality in a different way, considering the future devil's so silly.
I think it's funny that the future devil is silly. That's how funny it is because, you know, we all know that the future is mercurial really until it becomes the present. So having someone so flamboyant and weird and crazy kind of makes sense.
And it's a really nice juxtaposition with Aki's personality, so I like the two together. So Sawatori is now, you know, she's done this attack. They've realized that Makima is still alive. And now they realize that nowhere they go, it's safe as long as she is alive. And they have come up with this plan that they're going to use zombies that they have underground to finish off the 4th division since there's so little people left in this division. We haven't come to the conclusion. The conclusion will probably be next episode. But from what we can see, a lot of people's noses are bleeding, which brings us to Makima again.
If we're going to talk about Makima, we've got to talk about necessary evil. Now, this phrase is thrown around in all sorts of fiction and historical texts. Necessary evil. What is the necessary evil? And every time we hear necessary evil, we get the utilitarian view where the ends justify the means, blah, blah, blah. Makima took the eyes of loved ones, lovers, parents, grandparents, basically the people that the gangsters love, and said that you don't know what necessary evil is because you don't have the country's best interests at heart. We are the safety division. We do. So we know what necessary evil is. So we pluck their eyes out and we can put it back. No worries, but you're going to give me them names. And then we see her frolicking in some wooden shed or something. It's weird how Makima's acting while her team is fighting zombies and things. This episode did a lot for me.
Yeah, so Makima was talking about this whole necessarily evil, and that's the problem with even using this term. This term is used solely as a justification for bad actions that you know are wrong or that you feel in your own self are incorrect and should not be done, but you're saying, wait, I have an excuse to do this, and it's really for the greater good. The problem with this is it's that person's version of what is the greater good. She's saying it's for the people's greater good, but what do the people think? It's always in the brain of the person saying this, which makes this necessary evil to me always a fail, because it's a self-serving thing.
I agree, but I don't necessarily think that's always a problem. I feel like sometimes necessary evils are needed and sometimes the right person makes that decision. But in this case, we're yet to know. We don't know. We haven't seen the conclusion yet. All I'll see is bloody noses, isn't it? So
I believe that the people who are willing to have this necessary evil are always people you should be wary of, because although you're saying, oh yeah, that it might be good in the time, that person is willing to go that far. You can never trust someone that is willing to go that far and do things that are horrific with a justification that, it's good in the long run.
I mean, I feel like you can trust that person to do something horrific or, in the long run. So,
but you can't trust them to stop.
Sometimes, shit happens. We obviously disagree here, but maybe you should be wary of me because I'm in favor clearly. But I feel like sometimes you have to go far in certain teams in order to get justice.
Well, so Makima decides that she approaches the Yakuza. Obviously, you already heard what Big Boy Sama said about the eyes, but she basically asks for the names of everyone in his family who has a contract with the Gun Devil, but she also wants all the names of people who have contracts with the Gun Devil that are from other criminal organizations. And the head of the Yakuza at first, he's like, look, we want to cooperate, but we ain't gonna do that. And that's when Makima had the eyeballs, and when the Yakuza decided to take further action, as they obviously would, Makima gives them one look and has them dropping dead. So I want to know, how many ways can Makima kill without contact with another person? Because she's getting scarier by the second.
It was at that point where her and Kisame, aka Sensei, was at that dinner. And he goes, you lot obviously knew this was coming, right? And then Makima had a response. And they had a conversation. He goes, you're lying. Like, you're a liar. And then she smiled. That's when it was scary for me. I was already scared when I saw her twist her hands together and people started twisting up. But the moment she did that little smile in that conversation, I already knew she was a problem. I'm scared of Makima, straight up.
Oh, you waited till episode 11 to realize she was a problem.
But I like it though.
Because titties wouldn't allow you to think that she was a problem.
Titties had nothing to do with it.
Okay,
She's completely covered up at all times. Never mind. But
anyway, Makima, now I'm starting to wonder if the higher-ups really did know about this, because I'm feeling like only Makima knew about it now, and that she intentionally didn't say anything because she wants more control. She wants to be able to run things in her idea of justice. Like, she wants to do what it takes to get the job done. So what she has done is allow the division to get obliterated so that now Division 4 can take stronger action, and that they can also be noticed more on paper, and that her little experiment is going to be solidified, because who else do they have? All of the humans are dead. If that's the case, I like her character more. I mean, it's very hard to not like a character like Makima because she has so much mystery around her. She's got so much tension surrounding her character. You don't know what she's even capable of, but you know that she is willing to do all that she is capable of. And it just makes her a really interesting character to watch. Whenever she's on screen, you know that something is going down.
And she's the bad guy. I said it. She is the bad guy. There's no way she's the hero here. Because she's willing to burn the world to save the people. Listen to the... Look, that is the mentality I'm getting from her. She's willing to burn everything to save everyone. That makes no sense. It's impossible. So she's obviously the bad guy. But I like the bad guy. I think she is perfect. Her manipulating, doing politics, manipulating Sensei into training them, telling Sensei to his face that this is the story I have and I'm sticking to it, killing people non-contact from a temple, and I'm still rooting for her. She has godly powers and she's done some devastating things, and she obviously knew that this attack was coming, and I'm still rooting for Makima.
So we got introduced to a few more characters. I think that this is going to be basically the new Division 4, or at least the building blocks for it. So first of all, I just want to say Kobeni stayed. She's still working here. She was saying how she hates it, and then she said, leave then. But she did not leave.
She don't want to pop that people money.
Oh my god. So then we have got the Violence Devil. I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah, that guy's something else.
We have the Spider Devil, which I actually really liked.
That was beautiful.
This is a humanoid devil, and apparently humanoid devils do not have much animosity towards humans, and they tend to get along with them. She has many arms, I guess, that are used as sort of razors. I love the fluidity of the movement and the way that her body moves. And then we have the Angel Devil, who also again has no animosity towards humans, doesn't really seem to like even fighting. However, just a single touch is going to drain your life away. So we've got some interesting characters, because these aren't fiends. They said they were devils. Oh no, there were a few fiends and there were a few devils, right?
Yeah, Shark Boy was a fiend.
Yeah.
Shark Boy's got a pretty cool power as well. He can swim on any surface and then turn into a shark for a bit. That's pretty cool. That's
ugly though.
A little bit scary though. Like, loads of people have phobias of sharks, even though they've never been in the ocean, but they're still scared of sharks. So that's a devil fiend thing that's gonna be quite terrorizing.
Yeah, and just finally, Aki is pit against the Ghost Devil. That was so cruel, and you could see the way he kind of hesitated. He got his head back in the game, but you could see that it was like, no, seriously, like, he's just lost Himeno. He hasn't been able to grieve her, and now he's got to fight against her devil. How has Sawatori actually managed to get this devil? Is it because the snake devil bit into her, and so that's what gives her control over these devils?
It looks like it.
And also I noticed that the eyes and mouth was sewn shut. Was it always like that?
Yeah, I think it was, you know. Let's go back and look later.
Yeah, because if it's sewn shut, maybe it's to stop her from being able to recognize anyone that might break the spell. I don't know, but this is really harsh, and it ended on Aki getting the choked out of him. Is he gonna die, or is something else gonna happen?
So it's looking like we've come full circle. As Ruka said in the beginning, this is basically work saying they can replace you at any time because you're facing your old partner's devil, and like, no one cares. Like, you're by yourself, no one cares. So,
I think Denji's gonna come through because we haven't seen the effects of the training. We were told that he can fight better now. Sensei hadn't killed them the last time we saw them, which was surprising because they were dying every time. They were just badly beaten this time. So that is giving us the idea of some form of a growth. I think episode 12 will have to see what he can do.
Also, they cut Sensei's cheek.
That's true, which was unheard of. They couldn't even get close to him. So I'm looking forward to seeing both Denji and Power and how they have leveled up. Yeah,
I definitely want to see that fight. So Ruko, what would you rate this episode out of 10?
I would rate this episode an 8.5. I thought it was a really good episode. It gave us a lot. There was a lot of information, a lot of development with each of the characters. They gave us a bit of everything, to be honest, in this episode, and they've really set up for an explosive final episode.
I'll give it an 8 because, again, what Ruka said is absolutely true, and I'm anticipating episode 12.
So on that note, we out of here.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And check us out at Bomb Anime Insta.
Peace.